Cotman, Crawford, and the Jersey Guy Podcast.
Hey everybody, Kenny Cotman.
Lewis Crawford.
And I'm Tom Ramage, the Jersey Guy.
Hello. How's everybody doing?
Good. How are you guys doing?
Excelente, man.
Good. Doing great.
Good stuff. Yeah. Had my little quickie vacation in PR, so
Nice.
I'm
Good
super
for you, bro. That's awesome.
Yes. Everybody had a good week?
Yeah,
good.
it's over.
good.
That's what's good about it.
Yes.
You know?
Thank God it's Friday.
So tonight
Yes, sir.
we have a guest on with us, Joey, the founder of Lola Hemp. He's here with us, and he's going to talk with us about pets, how he came up with the idea and what gave him the inspiration to do it, and to help animals, dogs, cats, with certain ailments, whether it's physical, anxiety, triggers like thunderstorms, traveling, and things of that nature.
Right.
And, he helped me out a lot when I called. I got on the phone with him directly. He helped me out with Jeter.
That's right.
And it's been working phenomenally with him. So,
Awesome.
Joey, welcome to the show.
Welcome.
Yeah. Thank you guys. Yeah. Appreciate you reaching out and, for the opportunity.
Oh,
Happy
you're
to
very
be
welcome.
on.
Yeah, thank you for being on with us. We appreciate it.
Yes, for sure.
So, Joey, I called you and you helped me out, and we sat on the phone a little bit, and obviously you had the same situation with your dog, Lola, with the anxiety, and you said it was going to give it about 4 weeks. You told me, and it actually started with like in 10 days.
Right.
It just started where he started to respond right away. So
Awesome.
Joey, we figured we'd let you go ahead and
Yep. Tell us about the company.
how you found it, your inspiration and everything, and we'll let you go ahead and let the listeners hear about that.
Absolutely. Well, I used to work in the music industry for years. And the company I was working for went out of business, and this was 2015. And a few of my buddies were in e-commerce, just selling like novelty gifts online, but they're making a ton of money just running Facebook ads to these Shopify stores. And I jumped on a call with them, and they, just in a 45-minute call, they taught me a lot. And I launched my first store, I didn't have a job at the time. So I jumped right into e-commerce, and I was basically buying things at wholesale and selling them online. And I focused on the pet industry. And at the time I was living with my parents, and we had a Chihuahua named Lola, and she was a rescue. We got her when she was really young from a terrible situation. And at the time I was just selling like novelty gifts online for dog lovers. But a few years in, I launched the company that I'm running now, which is Lola Hemp. And the backstory on that was Lola, she's a Chihuahua, she's a rescue, and she has really intense anxiety and stress, just with everything, with loud noises, with, traveling in the car, fireworks, thunderstorms, strangers. I mean, you name it. She is just really skittish.
Right. Other dogs, of course, too, probably.
Other dogs, the mailman. I mean, you name it. Right. And we tried everything when we first got her. For years, we were trying, you name it, we tried it. Antidepressants, sedatives, trazodone, and some of these prescription medications, they worked, right? But they also kind of robbed her of her personality and her energy level. And she just wasn't herself on these things. She was a kind of like a zombie at best. So we kind of were always looking for something, an alternative to these pharmaceuticals, right? For her anxiety, something that didn't kind of take her personality away. And I had a buddy out west in California, and this was before the Farm Bill passed in 2018, which made this stuff legal on a federal level. In California at the time, there were companies in the space working just, on a state level. And he had mentioned to me, he's like, hey, have you ever tried CBD? Right. And this was being before the Farm Bill. I had no idea what it was. It was very new. It wasn't really studied. And I had no idea what it was. And he told me a little bit about it, and we jumped on a call, and, it's a natural compound found in the cannabis plant. And, humans have used it for, centuries. But now pets are, holistic veterinarians are starting to use it on their pets. So he managed to get me like a small batch CBD oil, and we used it on Lola. And I'm not kidding. Within the first few doses, she was a different dog. It completely mellowed her out. It balanced out her mood. She was still nervous during, these trigger events, but it took the edge off enough that it was just so manageable for her. She wouldn't run under the couch or run under the bed during, a thunderstorm. She could be out with us on the couch. So we took her off the pharmaceutical medication. We just had her on the CBD, and it was just incredible the way she responded. So, being I was in the space, selling stuff online, a pet lover, had her, I just saw an opportunity. I was like, this is very new. I got to introduce this to other pet owners. So at that point, I teamed up with a manufacturer out west and just started making it. At the time, we were just white labeling it, like literally taking a formula that was already made and just slapping a label on it. And just started selling it. And that first batch, people were buying it, and just 9 out of 10 people had something great to say about it. So from there, we started building the company.
That's awesome.
That's awesome. That's really good stuff.
Awesome.
That's cool. Now, my question is, how different is it from marijuana or THC or just the hemp that people would use?
Sure. Yeah. So cannabis is the plant, right? And cannabis has a ton of different strains and varieties, but the two main varieties are, marijuana, which is a slang term. But marijuana is basically a variety of cannabis that has high THC. There are all these compounds, natural compounds found in cannabis, right? There's THC, there's CBD, there's CBG, there's over 100 of these compounds.
Right.
So the first variety, marijuana, has high THC and very low CBD. So that's a psychoactive variety. So that's going to get you high. That's going to get a dog high. That has the psychoactive effects, right? The other variety is hemp. Now, hemp has a low percentage of THC, very low. By law, industrial hemp has to have less than 0.3% THC. So, and a lot of CBD. It has a majority of CBD, and CBD is non-psychoactive. So that's not going to get you high, but it's going to give you all the medicinal benefits of the plant without the high. So we make hemp products for pets because it has the low THC, but it has the high CBD. So, it's a safe, non-psychoactive alternative for pets and for humans.
Right.
Okay. That makes sense.
Right. And because they do say that part, the psychoactive part, is really not healthy for dogs anyway to begin with. So it's good that you go in that direction, and it's helpful for them. But what's a question for you? I was looking at the cannabinoids. So I noticed we both share the same, dogs and humans share the same cannabinoids. You were mentioning on your site, I was reading it.
Or it was the receptors, right? It
Right.
was the receptors.
So can you kind of go into that a little bit and explain how that works and how that helps the animal?
Yeah.
Full disclosure, it's a little out of my wheelhouse. I mean, I'm the founder of the company, so I do know,
Right.
a lot about the science of how this stuff works. But all humans and animals have these endocannabinoid receptors in their bodies, right? It's called all mammals have this system in their bodies called the endocannabinoid system. And what that is it's a network of neurotransmitters, receptors, enzymes, proteins. And this system plays a role in our bodies and in dogs' bodies. It plays a role in a number of functions. To name a few, this system has a role in pain, in mood, in skin health, in immune system, right? And these receptors found naturally in our bodies, the cannabinoids, which are found in the hemp plant, basically interact with this system in our bodies to provide a number of benefits. So it can either upregulate or downregulate this system. So for example, if you have pain in your body, the cannabinoids found in hemp can interact with this system to help, relieve pain. If you have anxiety, the cannabinoids can interact with this system to help, lower anxiety and regulate your mood. So it's a really complex system found in all mammals. And it's really the science behind this is kind of in its infancy. We're still learning a lot about it. But I encourage all you guys to check out the ECS, because the endocannabinoid system, it's an incredible thing.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, go ahead.
Go ahead.
We have like a million questions, and we're saying who's going to ask the next one. So does it matter how much you give your pet by size or by
The weight,
species?
probably.
Well, by weight and by
I don't
breed of dog and such. Like, you know what I mean? Is that a thing? Or
I would think.
Yeah.
I'm going to guess it's probably by the body weight, right, and the size of the dog,
Yeah,
Joey.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, typically we work off body weight, right? So we'll say typically 2 to 3 drops per 10 pounds, right? So that's a starting dose, and you increase as necessary. But the thing you got to be careful with is every animal, even every human, has a unique kind of dosing sweet spot, right?
Okay.
So kind of like when you hit a joint with with a buddy of yours, somebody can rip the whole joint themselves, and some people could just rip it once and they'll be toast, right?
Right.
So the same goes for this stuff. So we have small dogs that take as much as we have small Chihuahuas that take as much as pit bulls. Right. It depends on the dog. You usually start small with this stuff and you kind of slowly increase. But yeah, it's typically based off weight.
Okay. So
But I
question for
guess-
you.
sorry.
Go ahead, Tom.
No, I guess like in the situation, like you said, you had a Chihuahua that takes the same as pit bull. Is it because like maybe certain breeds are more, tend to have more anxiety or more aggression? Like I know Chihuahuas,
generally.
they're small dogs, but generally they're, they're
Yeah.
pretty aggressive dogs.
They can be, yeah.
Yeah, we found that different use cases require different dosages. So like, for instance, we found, this is all anecdotal research
Right.
too. We haven't done any actual studies, but we found that things like anxiety and stress require slightly higher doses than, say, senior dogs using it for, discomfort or things like osteoarthritis. Those things dogs can respond to a very low dose. But typically with the mood-based issues, intense phobias, you tend to kind of give them a macro dose, a little bit of a higher dose.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Breeds play into it for sure.
Yeah.
So like a Chihuahua, being a naturally super high, very anxious dog, may require more, but then it just depends on the particular dog. Like dogs that use it for a prolonged period of time, they can build a tolerance to it, so they may need more.
Yeah.
If a dog is taking a prescription medication, like say an anti-inflammatory or an anti-anxiety or something like that, you also want to be careful, because when you start mixing this stuff with other drugs, then side effects can happen. They are minimal, but you have to be careful with that stuff.
Okay.
Right. Yeah. See, and that was my next question. I was going to ask you, is that something you should look out for if your dog is on other medication? Is that something you should talk to your vet too before
Absolutely.
giving it to your dog?
Yeah, always consult with your veterinarian. They know your pet best. They're going to have a better understanding of kind of the pharmacology and what medications your pet is taking. Is it safe? But 100% run it by your vet. Unfortunately, a lot of vets are still a little uneducated in this space. And the reason is because it's still a lot of the state veterinary boards are still opposed to using this stuff. So a lot of vets can't prescribe it. They can't talk about it. They can't recommend it. So a lot of vets are kind of they're just not they haven't been able to really study it so much. So they're a little in the unknown. But if you find the right veterinarian, holistic veterinarians have a lot of experience with this stuff. If you're in states like California, Illinois, Nevada, if you find the right vet, they're going to know exactly how to go about integrating this into your pet's regimen.
Oh, cool. That's very good.
That's really interesting.
Yeah. And I guess because it is so new, they're learning about it now too as well, right? I mean, it's a matter of time when it just starts to catch up and it becomes, more frequent and people are more used to being, hey, I can do this rather than putting my dog on an antidepressant or anything like that.
Absolutely. Yeah. There's limited studies on this stuff, right? There's a study out in Colorado done at Colorado State by this renowned veterinarian named Stephanie McGrath, and she did a study with epileptic dogs. It was a small trial where they used CBD for dogs that are having seizures, and the results were actually very strong. I think the vast majority of dogs in that study saw a reduction in the severity and the frequency of their seizures. There was another study done at Cornell that looked at CBD for use in osteoarthritic dogs. Those results were incredible. And I think there was another study, I believe, I forget if it was in the US or internationally, but for dogs with anxiety. And again, the results were very promising. Beyond that, it is mostly anecdotal research that we're finding. Owners telling us it's helping their dogs. And it is plentiful when it comes to the amount of reviews and the amount of success stories. People reaching out to me on a daily basis, telling me their dogs are responding so well to this. And there's such a broad application for this stuff. It's not just owners using it for their senior dogs or their stress pets, but all sorts of issues.
Mm-hmm. Well, see, so for me, it sounds exactly going through all the trials and tribulations that we had to go through with humans, or the test subjects, if we're going to call them that, when they had people that had seizures, or the kids. I mean, talking 10, 15 years ago, and they were doing documentaries on, families taking their kids that, were epileptic, and, just trying to find the right balance, the right dosage that, the kids wouldn't have seizures anymore, or just cut the seizures down in half. What I mean?
Yeah.
And so this is pretty groovy because, again, so everybody that listens, they know I'm not like the super pet person, but I hate to see anything or anybody, even pets. I love animals. I just allergic to everything. But, to see them in pain, to see them, just all kind of uncomfortable, you know what I mean?
Right.
So I appreciate the you as a company doing this to help pets out.
And a pet owner, because he obviously... I'm sure I identify in this sense because, when I look at Jeter, it's hard for a dog to tell you what's going on, right?
Exactly.
An animal. And when you see them suffering like that, it's like, it's just so heartbreaking.
Right.
And then when you're able to, find something that actually works versus the other stuff that you tried,
Right.
that either makes them depressed, lethargic, not moving around or anything. And this is still, hey, my dog's still the same, but he's down a little level and he's more interactive with the other dogs. And he's, so that's great.
Yeah. So now, all right, so I have another question. Y'all took too long.
Go for it.
So now, is there a different dosage or a time to give the pets a dose when, let's say if it's thunderstorms, if they're just anxious from fireworks? Like, do you only give it around that time, or is this something that you give it to them steady? Like every day, give it to them this way.
Yeah, like a medication, like a daily medication.
Yeah, like a regular daily medication. Right. Thanks.
Yeah, you could do both. I mean, we've seen dogs take the oil in our calming chews on a kind of an event-based manner, right? Like an hour before a thunderstorm, or the morning before July 4th, right?
Okay.
And some dogs do really well with that. Typically, we want owners to give a macro dose, so pretty high dose, so really juice their dogs up on this stuff, right? But typically, we'll recommend just a twice daily usage of the product. That's going to do better. It's in their system. It's in their blood. You've kind of found their optimal dose. So you can use it event-based, but typically we want it to be used daily because it's going to do better, but also because beyond just these specific use cases like, a fireworks show or a thunderstorm, it's a great daily dietary supplement for dogs. It is, it has anti-inflammatory properties. It has antioxidant properties. It can help boost the immune system, improve skin health. Like, there are so many great benefits of the product. So regardless if there's something acute going on, you want to be using it daily just for all the great benefits.
Okay. All right. That works.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna do.
Yeah. Well, so right now I have Jeter on a quarter of the dropper on it, right? So Joe, it's okay if I feel like if one night he's a little bit more, even though I gave it to him and he seemed a little more anxious than usual, it's okay for me to say, I'm going to give him a little bit more. Obviously, I wouldn't go the whole
Right. Yeah.
dropper, but I would just go a little bit more than what I normally do, and that would probably be okay. And kind of just feel it out that way until you see where he's, how it works for the dog.
Yeah, you try it out, see how it does. Maybe it mellows him out some more. The only time you got to be a little cautious is, again, if he's using some other prescription medications. This stuff on its own is really safe. Like the dog could, they could add the whole bottle of this stuff, and the worst they'll get is some diarrhea, or some upset stomach.
Right,
like,
exactly.
It's kind of like,
Yeah,
the stuff
humans.
adults use.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, they may have the munchies, but they're, that's gonna happen.
That's great. That is great.
Of course.
That is great. Now, how much of a difference do you see and I guess we'll say the reaction, I don't know, say the reaction, but just between cats and dogs? So like, do you see cats maybe need a little bit more, but they're so calm, it's hard to even say, a cat that's anxious. I don't think I've ever heard of a cat that's really anxious. But like, just the microdoses that you're saying, does it differ between cats and dogs?
Yeah, I mean, right now, mostly cats and dogs are using it. We've seen dogs respond typically better across the board. Cats are a little tricky.
Mm-hmm.
Cats, for some reason, and this is again just from kind of our from the owners that have used our product on their pets, but we found dogs tend to respond a lot better. Like, I'm not kidding you guys. For senior dogs, we're looking like 8, 9 out of 10 dogs respond well. It doesn't work for every dog.
Yeah.
Right.
And that goes for every supplement or medication, you name it, right? But the vast majority of senior dogs respond incredibly well to this. Cats, it's a little less. For some reason, we don't know if it's, the ECS found in cats, or their metabolism, or there's something about their physiology or what, but they don't respond as well. But we certainly have cats using the product and doing really well on it.
Yeah. Okay. That works. That makes sense.
You know what the thing is though, for me, like I find cats sometimes are just hard to read, right? Like, cause they don't have like the facial expressions like dogs have.
Yeah. Right. They don't have the facial expressions. They don't, they just don't have the same, like you can see a puppy or a dog, they have that limp or they're hurting.
And cats are mostly independent too.
Right.
You know what I mean? So a lot of the times you may not even see the cat most of the time, or, but yeah, I get what you're saying. So it might be harder to read, I would think.
I have a question though. So like in terms of like, like CBD and all that, like what does full spectrum actually mean?
Sure. Yeah. So when you take the cannabis plant and you extract the oil from the plant, right? There are all these compounds found in the plant, and that's called like the spectrum of compounds, right? So when you make a hemp oil, and you go through this extraction process and formulation process, you're taking out the compounds. Now, a lot of times, what companies do is for example, the first type of hemp oil is called what they call like a CBD isolate oil. What they do is they'll when they make the oil, they're going to isolate just the CBD compound. Now, the CBD compound typically is found in the highest percentage in hemp. It's also the most studied. It's the most well-known compound. It's not the only compound, but a lot of companies focus just on the CBD portion of it. So they'll filter out the rest of the plant, and what you're left with is just kind of like a CBD oil, like an isolated CBD oil. These are not nearly as effective as the other types of categories, which are broad spectrum and full spectrum. Broad spectrum has a little bit more of these compounds. So it's going to have CBD, maybe it has CBG, CBC, but they filter out the THC compound. So it's a little bit more robust of a combination of spectrum of compounds. But again, it's still very processed. It's usually like a distillate. It's really broken down, and these are more effective because you have a little bit more of all the compounds. But again, they filter out THC. You want a little bit of THC in there because although THC can be harmful to pets at high doses, in low doses, it's actually very effective because it can activate the CBD molecule.
Yeah.
There's this kind of phenomenon called the entourage effect, which basically says that all of these compounds work better when they're working together. In other words, you don't want to filter out all this good stuff. It's kind of like taking a vitamin C supplement versus drinking an orange juice, right? Like an orange juice is just going to have a lot more of the original material. And the same goes for when you're making a hemp oil. It's like a full spectrum product is the best form that we found, is because you're retaining all of the parts of the plant. You got CBD, you got a little bit of THC, you got CBC, you got terpenes, which are another types of compounds. You got flavonoids, you got all of the plant matter and material, and it's all working together. So you want to
that makes so much sense, because, you know, the thing is like, when these plants were originally, like when people started using them for whatever purpose, like they weren't filtering out the CBD oils, they were using the whole plant, and then someone discovered the CBD was good, and they're like, oh, let's just take the CBD, and not realizing that, like you said, you get that entourage effect and everything, so it makes sense to have it full spectrum.
They all work with one another to get it to work properly. Yeah,
exactly.
That makes sense.
Makes total sense.
Total sense. Absolutely.
You know, sometimes we get so hell-bent on being so scientific, and we're just gonna have the CBD because that's the ingredient, not realizing, like, whoa, wait a sec, you know, when people were like first using this, they weren't extracting, you know, any, you know, thing from.
Right. Yeah,
makes sense.
No, literally the first few oils out there, and actually before this stuff was actually like commercialized and manufactured, like back in the day, it was probably like really dark, sticky oil. You know. And now it's really refined. It's lighter. Even our oil is pretty light. It's like a light amber color, even a clear color sometimes. But absolutely, when you start to over manufacture the stuff, it just loses all of the properties. And what you're left with is eventually it's, you know, you have these big companies just making, you know, these isolated extracts and stuff, which maybe they can be effective. But from what we found, you know, we've had owners come to us using all sorts of isolated oils and broad spectrum oils, and they come to Lola Hemp and they try their first true small batch full spectrum oil, and it's like night and day.
Yeah, makes total sense.
Yeah, it does. Absolutely. Question for you: is this like your full-time job now doing this, or is this just something that, you know, you're balancing at the same time? But just out of curiosity, I was just thinking, because now that you founded this company and you're doing this, is this something that you're doing full-time? You're with this oil and everything now, or is that just, you know, you're balancing both?
Yeah, no, full time. I've been full time since 2018, since I
That's awesome.
it. That's awesome. Yeah, it's been up and down, but we have I have 3 full-time people and myself. So it was not like that. I actually just started hiring last year, but it was, for a while, it was just me doing everything, like literally doing product development, customer service. I built the website. I run the ads. I, you know, do everything, administrative stuff. In the last year, I've gotten to a point where now I got 3 full-time people. Nice. You know, we're not killing it. You know, we're not in Whole Foods or, you know,
you're on Amazon
doing crazy volume. We're on Amazon, but we're I mean, I live the dream. You know, I got a nice little small business that, you know, is helping animals, you know, is fulfilling, has a real cause, and, you know, funds my, my life, my lifestyle. It's great. So
That's
full time.
How many dogs do you have, Joey? Just out of curiosity. You had just the one?
Right
you
now,
just have Lola?
Yeah, just Lola. Yeah. I live in the city in a small apartment with my wife. So, you know, we're taking care of, family, friends, dogs, but we haven't got around to getting a dog. It's just tight, you know. It's
an apartment's a little hard when you have a dog. But now you have a little dog, so you're all right. You know. Yeah. When you got the little dogs, it's good.
Exactly. Eventually, when we move out of the city, at that point, that's when I grew up with a lab my whole life, a yellow lab. Roxy was her name, and I always said, when I get some land, you know, when I get out of the city, I get at least a yard. That's when I'm going to get a big dog, and, you know, we'll get a few at some point.
Right. Yeah. They're great to have. I have the 3 of mine. So I have 3 miniature schnauzers, and, you know, they're loud. You know, you walk in the house, you're going to hear them. So, you know, I actually gave them 2 of the other puppies. I have Jeter, I have Patriot and Liberty. Liberty and Patriot are brother and sister. Right. I got them we picked them up in Tennessee when we got them. So last night I gave them half of one of the chews that you sent me. And then all of a sudden they just start. Now, I'm not saying this is what happened with the product, but all of a sudden they're running around. She's like, how much did you give them? Like, my wife was bugging out. I was like, no, I think they're just because they were outside playing and they just brought it in.
Right.
And I just, gave them a treat. I said, you know what, let me give it. I already gave Jeter the oil.
Right.
So let me give them half. It's not going to hurt them. It's CBD. The most it's going to do is just going to help them relax or, whatever's going on if there's something I don't know that's going on with them.
Right.
So, but they were running around the house like crazy, man.
That is hilarious.
It's awesome. Yeah.
That is great.
Yeah. No, I was really happy when I spoke to you because for me, like I said, it's hard. You go to the vet and the first thing they want to do is they want to put them on medication.
Right, everything's med.
And you know how you feel when you go on certain medications.
right.
And you know the
There's
dog
side
is going to,
effects,
and it's like, I don't want to do that. I want to make him into a zombie. I don't want him just laying on the couch and then just,
but
what kind of life is that?
Right.
You want them to be comfortable, so, and I know about having inflammation, I'm getting older now and I have to take certain supplements for myself so I don't have so much because it's painful, and you can imagine what it is for the dogs, as far as the physical part too. And I was reading also, you can use the same oil, Joey, for topical use as well. Like if they're having an issue that way.
Yeah, we have a balm that's specialized for that. You can technically use, the tincture oil, but you're going to want to use a topical balm for skin, skin issues, dermatitis and
dry skin and all that.
Dry skin, some itching, scratching, dry spots, hot spots, things like that.
That's awesome,
dude. I'm like thinking they only like you said, like eating a treat like an edible or only taking the oil and whatnot. So then with that, is it like a soap or is it just like an oil to rub it on them?
like a cream, right?
Just like a cream.
It's like a salve, they call it.
Oh, yeah.
It's like a kind of hard, you got to kind of rub it to loosen it up and you can just rub it on.
Yeah, I had something like that for tattoos. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
But
that's awesome.
To your point, Lewis, about the, veterinarians, I got to be a little careful with the way I talk about this stuff. And, by the way.
Right. Okay. Understood.
The product is this product hasn't been evaluated by the FDA, and it's not. None of this information is a substitute for veterinary advice. And this stuff is not intended to treat or mitigate or cure or prevent any disease. But with all that being said, some of these veterinarians, unfortunately, although I believe most veterinarians have animal best interests at heart, a lot of them are,
by the book,
kind of. On a leash with big pharma, right? So
yeah,
a lot of these medications, although they can help, they also come with their share of side effects. You give them one medication, it creates another issue. And, big pharma is a big, powerful, money-making business, but it's a little sad. We've been through the ringer for years. Like I can't even begin to express the headwinds that we've had to face being in a quote unquote restricted industry. I mean, I lost my ability to take credit cards for a whole year in 2019 because banks thought I was selling marijuana when this stuff is federally illegal. Right. I wasn't able to advertise on Facebook or Google up until a few months ago. I had to literally promote the product very vaguely. I couldn't mention CBD. I couldn't say it was an ingestible hemp product.
You can't write like Lola Hemp, it's not marijuana.
Yeah, I have tried that.
In every single picture.
Yeah.
Yeah, right. I mean, we can't get federal trademarks. I can't even protect myself from other people using my brand. I mean, and the list goes on and on and on. And for what? I mean, dogs are responding incredibly well to this stuff. I could go on my site, read the reviews, look at the stories, play the videos.
Right.
I mean, this stuff is... this is not a placebo. Dogs are not making this shit up.
Yeah,
right.
They can't talk. They're, it's obvious this stuff is helping in some way. So why don't we approve this across the board? Why don't we get more studies funded? Why don't we get more veterinarians on board? And why don't we help animals? It's a no-brainer.
Yeah, I totally agree with you.
Yeah, it totally makes sense.
Right.
And it's the same with us as people. When you go to your doctor, right? What do they first tell you? Your cholesterol's a little high. What do? They
Take
put
this
you on
pill.
cholesterol, right? And then, or they try to push another medication that's
Right.
going on. You know,
Yeah.
because big pharma, and it's the same process whether it's an animal. People
Right.
we deal with it when we go to the doctors. You know, and you got to tell, oh, did you get your flu shot? No, I'm not getting it.
Right.
You know, kind of like, you know, because they want you to do it. You
Right.
know,
Yeah, yeah,
and,
yeah.
they push it on you. So,
Right.
well, you know, hopefully this is gonna. I see this really working out well for you. I mean, so far, I mean, you did have a video. You one of the testimonials you had on there. You were talking on, I think it was on Instagram or Facebook, and you were saying one of the people said, "Oh, this is weed for dogs," and you were like, "This is not weed for dogs."
Yeah.
And then you were saying that, and then you explain, and then and then he explains the whole thing, and you know, you're like, okay, you know,
You know, it's funny. I could now knowing what you told me, I could picture when someone says it, you're like, oh my God, please don't. I'm not going to I'll be able to advertise for another year because you're saying this.
right.
Yeah, that is funny.
You're going
as
to
hell.
correct them right away. Be like, no, it's not weed for dogs.
Yeah,
Right.
That is great. That is great. Now, so then, because you were speaking about marketing and stuff like that, do you go to the big chain pet stores? And did you try to pitch it to them, or like
They're
that's just a
tough.
big no?
Yeah, they're tough. For years, they didn't carry, like the PetSmarts, Petco's of the world didn't carry any hemp CBD products. I think now some are starting to carry it, but that's a tough game. That's like a whole nother strategy, is going brick and mortar retail.
Right.
Because with these big box retailers, it's all about price. You know, they want the product that they can make the biggest profit margin on. So they're buying the CBD isolate junk oils because those are
right.
the ones that they could buy for cheap and they could sell for, you know, for more money. They're not going to buy it's going to be tough for me to get my small batch oil in a spot like that.
Well, yeah,
But,
because of scaling.
Eventually,
right? Yeah.
eventually, maybe, you know, when we,
No. Yeah. Well, I mean, you know what?
Yeah.
I think it's just a matter of when everybody starts to realize, you know, that this works on pets too. You know, I mean, think about it. We're just starting to get through to them about human consumption. You know what I
Right.
mean?
Right,
That they're
right.
starting to find all these things. So it's going to just, you know, maybe not as long, but it's just going to be the same difference for, you know, for our pets. If you think about it, I can remember maybe 20 years ago, I didn't see as many people that cared about their pets. I guess we'll say the same way. I mean, it sounds, I don't want to say that they didn't care about their pets, but that wasn't a thought. That's more what I mean.
Yeah, yeah.
You know what I
It just
mean?
wasn't- yeah.
Like, I didn't
Sure.
think about it, you know, like, I mean, so me, like I said, I don't know pets like that, but I know that most German Shepherds have like hip problems.
A lot of big dogs do.
Right. Okay. So see, I didn't know that
I think
you
it's
said
called hip dysplasia. if I'm
Okay,
not
so cool.
mistaken.
So that then now, instead of just giving them Tylenol and Excedrins kind of thing, then
Just
now,
to mask the pain, right?
Right, just to mask the pain. Then now you've come with something that is going to be able to help them live better, you know. And I said that's awesome, and I think it's just, you know, a little bit of time, but I'm glad that we're able to promote this for, you know, on our end to our
Yeah,
listeners,
yeah.
you know.
Yeah, no, this is.
I appreciate that.
Yeah, no problem, Joe. Like I said, you know, it took me a little while to pull the trigger.
Yeah.
Because you know, you see, like Joey mentioned, you know, they have some of the stores do have some of the stuff, but
Right.
it's just not really
It's
good
fake stuff,
or
yeah.
whatever it might
Yeah.
be, and you know, you see so much advertised on social media.
Right.
You're like, I don't know, should I call? I don't know if I should buy this. I don't, you know, because you don't want to hurt your dog either because you don't know. And then I said, you know what, I'm just going to call him, and then. I left a message. Joey called me back, and we kind of had the same situation because this dog had the anxiety as well too. So when I sent you the pictures, Joey, I sent you the one with him on the table. That one would be him having anxiety. Just so you know, he was like, you know, we'll turn around and go, "What are you doing?" He's like walking around the table. You know, I mean, it's funny. You know,
Yeah.
Dude, that is the funniest shit. You had to see the puppy doing that.
Yeah,
When you
just
see him
on the
do-
table. Like,
Yeah, he just
he's on the
stood on there.
table.
Yeah, like he just climbed the mountain.
yeah.
Yeah.
The funny thing is, that, and he can't get down, Joe. So you know, because the table's slippery. So now he knew how to get up, but he can't get down. So I have
it's
to
like
go
the
and pick
cat
him
in
up,
the
put him
tree.
down. Yeah. So yeah, it's the funniest thing. So, and how long have you had her now, Lola?
Lola, she is 11.
Wow,
So,
God bless.
Wow.
That's
yeah,
awesome.
she's going strong. She's in good shape. No health issues, and yeah, she takes her oil every day. And yeah, knock on wood, she's going strong. I mean, Chihuahuas, man, some of these Chihuahuas live forever.
They
Right.
do live long.
She may outlive me.
Yeah, that's funny. Yeah, see, and then and that's awesome because it's a Chihuahua, and like you said, like Tom was questioning, you know, they're usually a bit, you know, high strung. So to say that, yeah, this is working on your puppy, that's awesome.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think it's little person syndrome in a dog. It's kind of what happens with the Chihuahuas. Yeah. But they are dogs. And it's also the owner too.
Definitely.
Who helps with that. You know, if you're good with your dog and you train them and you take care of them and love them, of course they're going to respond to that. And some dogs are just super high anxiety, like Jeter. You guys see it when you come. But Joey, how does your wife get involved with this? Does she help you out with marketing and everything like that, or are you just the sole guy doing all the work and hanging out, or do you have your family involved as well?
She's super helpful. I mean, she has a full-time job herself. She's a technical recruiter, but she does help out with all sorts of stuff, marketing. She's got a ton of great marketing ideas, administrative stuff, customer service. I mean, you name it, she helps out. Kind of like a consultant.
Awesome. That is awesome.
That's great.
Awesome. Yeah. Well, I tell you what, man, I can't wait till you get to where everybody is a true believer and not always questioning. You know what I'm saying? And I think
it's going to just take time. It's a matter of time. I mean,
definitely.
You see it happening, and I mean, of course, you see other products on social media as well. You know, like everybody's doing it now. When I saw this, for someone just stuck on me, and I was like, I want to get it. I don't know. And then I was just like, let me just call and talk to him and everything. And that was great. I
mean, even I see it work on Jeter.
Oh, yeah. You can see it.
Yeah,
right. And Joey, no kidding. He would be antisocial. Just lay around, not want to be near the other dogs. Just leave me alone, rolled up in a little ball and just in a corner of the couch or something. Now he's sitting with them and playing with them and everything. And I'm like, honey, do you see what I'm seeing? Because this is not the same dog. What's going on here? And they're like, oh, it's coincidence. It's only a week. We got to wait. We got to give it a little while. And then we were like, okay, this stuff is good. It's for real, man. It's awesome.
Man, it's relaxing. It's working. I mean, listen, I'm happy to hear that, Jeter's been responding well. Again, not every dog responds well, so it's great to hear. But if you have a choice between something like this and, trazodone, or a Prozac.
Oh, yeah.
Absolutely.
It's a no-brainer for me.
Right.
For me, it's definitely a no-brainer.
Yeah. This is where it's at. This is, again, that it's safe. You know what I mean? That's a number one, and I can't wait till more people, more people, more vets get on it.
Right. And talking about people, I saw that on your site that you're starting to have something for people as well now with the CBD oil as well.
Yeah, we don't want to, we're building a pet company, right?
Right.
But we've had a lot of companies or a lot of customers ask, I've seen what it has done for my dog. Do you have human products? So about a year or two ago, we started launching, or we had a human oil made. It's the same oil as the pet. It's just a little more concentrated.
Okay.
So I'd be careful giving it to a dog, especially a small dog, because it is strong. But yeah, we have a human hemp oil. We have a human balm. That will probably be the extent of human products that we launch. Yeah. But it's nice to have when someone asks, being a small business, hey, do you carry human products? Yeah, of course we do. We got a human oil, human balm. It's it's good to help people out if they need as well.
Very, very cool.
Right, so you go ahead.
No, go ahead.
I'll say it's better it's better now doing it the way you're doing it, because so many other companies, other people, what have you, they concentrate on the humans first. So then that you guys are able to concentrate on the pets first. That then, the humans could be secondary. You got like 150, what you call it. Now it's time for somebody to look out for the pets.
For the animals, and what you said earlier, Kenny, too, about how pet care was so much different, even not only with just to help the dogs with vet care or medication, but it was also with the food too. You notice,
dude,
a lot of the foods are changing now. There's vegan food. You got the fresh food market now. You can order it. So it's more. It's not so processed or baked, and they don't lose a lot of stuff. So you're seeing that now too. That's also evolved as well. And of course, you got to be careful what you get because you don't know. So. That's a good direction, and it's nice to see that, and people love their animals, man. I mean, I know I'm crazy with it. I'm sure you're the same way. I'm sure your wife probably makes fun of you when you're sitting with the dog and you're like, really? Because I know I get that way with mine. So
who's speaking from experience?
Yes, absolutely. I love my animals, and it breaks my heart when I can't figure out what's going on with them. And it's good to know that at least there's something you know, there's an option.
Right.
product
You can do it.
and some relief.
And thanks to Joey and his product, I think that's a good direction and a good option for people to go to.
Yeah.
Appreciate that, guys.
Oh, thank you.
So
with that being
Joey,
said,
thank you so much for being on with us.
Yes,
we
thank
appreciate
you.
it.
Appreciate it. It was a good show.
yeah, awesome.
And,
And that's super. Like, I mean, I appreciate you guys, you and Lou. Talk to Joey, you and Lou.
Yeah.
You don't have a pet, right?
No.
Yeah, see, so Tom and I, we're just
my
like,
dog
yeah,
passed
you know,
away.
we hear and we see what Lou goes through and some of our other friends, and you know, just the idea of taking care of their animals, and you know, that this is happening is pretty groovy. I can't believe how much I've learned in just doing this podcast.
Yeah.
You know, everything from, you know, mental health to now taking care of our pets and making sure, and you know, I always say love, peace, and hair grease, because you know, I want everybody to have love and you know,
Right.
be happy and all the time, and so I
And be
appreciate
healthy.
you, Joey. Yeah,
Right.
and be healthy. So, Joey, I appreciate you, and you know, and Lola Hemp, and you know, this is awesome. This is great. I can't wait till you know it's mainstream, I guess we'll call it. You know, where you're able to get into every store. You know, brick and mortar, mom and pop, whatever. That is just you know
Well-
that is just there.
Well, when Joey, when you get to that point, and we don't want to put any kind of canurs on. It's a Yiddish word. You know, any bad luck
No bad luck,
on you.
bro.
But you know, I see it good things for you in the future, and that hopefully when you get to that point, we could have you on again.
Yeah.
And we
Yeah.
can, and you know, and talk about how well things are going for you with that
Exactly.
and the
Yeah,
animals.
absolutely. I'll come back on whenever.
Appreciate it, man.
Thanks for the kind words and you know, for believing in what we're doing and for the opportunity. I appreciate you guys. Just keep sharing the word, you know, let people know
Yeah, of
about the
course.
product. And yeah, if you guys need anything, let me know. Happy to send you guys product. You know, you got a pet that needs it. Just you know, let Lewis know. I'd be happy to send out some stuff. So
Thank you, Joe.
Awesome, brother. Awesome. All right. So don't hang up. Give us 2 seconds. And to
just gonna
everybody
wrap
else
up.
and all our listeners, appreciate you guys. Love, peace, and hair grease.
Live long and prosper.
And go vegan.
Holla.